Hello, everyone, and welcome to our group call this week. If you guys have any questions, I want you to put it in the comments. And if you're new to the group call today, what I do is come on here every week and share a coaching concept. And you guys can ask questions or comment. Today, I'm talking about how to feel better in your life. I think we're all guilty of getting in patterns of doing things, getting in a way of pattern of thinking, even patterns of how you do things every day in your life, like your everyday routines. And sometimes we allow habits to form that aren't what we would choose if we were trying to design our life on purpose. We just kind of get stuck doing something over and over and over, and we don't realize it. And it can get us in situations where we start feeling uncomfortable and unhappy with our lives. And a lot of people end up, going into depression or having other mental health issues because they're just not aware of their own actions and the results they're causing in their lives. I'm happy that you guys are all here. You're aware and curious about life coaching and interested in changing possibly the way you're thinking or habits that aren't working for you in your life. And I am happy to help you with that. I'm going to give you 10 steps to feel better. This week, we're only going to cover 5, and next week we will finish with the second 5. To feel better, the first thing that I recommend for all of my new clients and every one of you guys that are interested in feeling better in your life is to evaluate your life. In coaching, we use something called a life wheel, but you can do this for yourself. Just think about every area of your life, all of the relationships you have in your life, and all of the areas of your life, like your social well-being, your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your physical surroundings, your home, and your things. I want you to take an assessment of everything in your life, and you can use the life wheel. I will also put that up in my Joy in the Journey group if you want to use the life wheel. This is what I use with my clients, or you can just use your own system. You can just write down all of the things that you have in your life. And what I like to do is ask my clients on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate a specific area of your life? So if we were talking about relationships, we would start with the most 5 important relationships in your life. And if you're married, that would be with your spouse, and then possibly, the closest people to you, your parents and your children, and then the next relationships out. And we would evaluate each of those relationships. You could give it a number. I usually tell my clients to just give the first number that comes to mind. And then why did you rate it that way? So if you rated the relationship with your spouse a 5 or 8 or 3, why did you give it that rating? And so that's what I would challenge you to do, is in your personal assessment, think about all the different areas of your life. And I can just pull out one that I use with my clients. So you could talk about or evaluate your relationships, your emotional health, your financial situation, how you feel about your time, how you're managing it, and if you feel like you have enough time or not enough time to accomplish everything you want, your physical health, your career or your business goals, or how you're doing with your career or your business, and your spiritual goals, how you feel about how you're living and fulfilling your spiritual well-being. And that's totally up to you. That's different for every person. But this is just sort of a basic assessment that I use with my clients, sort of an intake before we start coaching, to just see exactly where you rate all of these things in your life. And it's private. You don't have to share it with anyone, but it's a good place to start, is just assess all of the areas of your life and how you feel about each of those areas and where you would like for things to improve. All right. That's where we start off with coaching, is where you want improvement in any of these areas of your life. All right. So first step to feel better is to complete an honest personal assessment. The second step to feel better is to identify the true source of all of your problems. And if you're familiar with my work and with coaching, what I teach is that all of our problems always stem from our thoughts. Our thoughts are what generate our feelings, and our feelings drive our actions, and our actions create the results that we have in our lives. So our thoughts create everything in our lives. So everything that is happening in your life, all of your relationships, all of the situations in your life are the way they are because of the thoughts that you have about them. And if this is a new idea to you, you may want to think about it some more and do some reading and maybe talking with other people in my Facebook group about this and how they have been able to apply it in their lives. But this is really the basis for changing anything you want to change in your life, is to start with identifying your thoughts and directing them to create the feelings that drive the actions that get the results you want in your life. All right. Something that I've talked about before about thoughts is that we believe, when we're talking with our friends and family and people in our lives, that when we're telling them how we feel about our life or the events in our lives, we feel like we're telling facts. We feel like whatever we say is just the truth of a situation. But many times they're not facts. They're stories that we're telling ourselves about the facts. So the very basic level of starting with coaching is to separate out facts from stories. And there's a whole lot more about this. I've done whole other coaching calls and podcasts, and there's lots more information about how to separate stories and facts. But this is an important place to start, is you have to learn to identify what really is a fact and what really is a story that you are telling yourself and other people about events in your life. Because many times we have very hurtful stories that we believe are true. We believe that they're just the facts of life, and they're not. They're just painful stories that we believe, and we continue believing over and over, and it causes us a lot of pain in our lives, unnecessary pain. So this is what we tackle in coaching, is separating out the facts from the stories that you're telling yourself, and peel away stories that you've possibly believed all of your life that are just causing you pain that you don't have to continue believing. You can actually learn and tell yourself and believe new stories about old events, about everything that has happened in your life, about your past. So that's where practicing your intentional thoughts or your mantras, like I talked about last week, comes in handy, because we've all practiced our old thoughts and our old stories so many times that it's a habit, it's a pattern in your brain. And to break that pattern, you have to practice new stories, and you have to do it over and over again, like repeating your mantra. But you can't just say the words without believing it and generating the feelings. So for today, we're going to end here. Those are the first 5 steps to how to feel better. Next week, I'm going to pick up and we'll go on to 6 through 10, but I will put this in my Facebook group with the list so you guys can start working on it. And if y'all have any questions or comments about any of this, you can send me an email or put it in the comments, and I will respond in the group so that everyone can benefit from your question. And that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining me. And I'm excited to see if you guys practice this and see how it goes for you. All right. I'm hoping y'all are going to take the first 5 steps, maybe before next week.